Hey everybody, quick video on my repair and cleaning stands that I've made for my bike, and basically how they're made, how they work, and how you use them. So bear with me and I'll make this quick. The way I made my stands, I made the rear stand first to hold the bike up, and then I was so happy with it I wanted one for the front too, so the front stand came later, and since the back stand is a fixed in position stand when you put it on, put wheels in the front one to roll everything into place. And you'll see it all come together right here real quick. These stands pin in through the axles of the bike. Okay. Apply a little bit of pressure to the handle. Balance the bike with your hand at the tail section. Push down. And now the bike is up on the rear stand. You do work to the wheel, tire, chain, whatever, and the bike will sit up straight for you. It's fairly sturdy. Well, I like it so much I want to do the front too, so a little while later I made this stand. After doing some thinking, I made this stand to go along with the rear stand that I made. And I put it on wheels, because of the way the rear stand was made. It would have to be a pivot and the front stand would have to roll into place. Same way, these pins, just bolts. Ran a nut up onto the bolt, then a piece of rubber hose and a second lock nut to create a handhold. Then I took and cut off the head of the bolt and cleaned up and rounded the edges. And that's all the pins are that go through the axles. I used the largest bolt I could get at the time that would still fit into the axle to make sure I had enough strength to hold the bike. Once both pins are in place, push down, and it rolls into place. And then to make sure you don't have something here you trip over, get caught up in, I made the stand using pipe fittings for the handle so that I could unscrew the front handle and walk around if the bike was going to be up any length of time. So that's the bike on stands. It's completely stable. It's raised the bike up 2 or 3 inches front and rear, and it's very, very stable. I showed this before in the other video. I'll try and do it again just to show you how much abuse this thing can take like this. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but you'd have to have it on really, really soft ground or do something insanely stupid to knock the bike over with the stands being secured through the axles at the widest part of the drivetrain. So that's how the stands work, and that's how stable they are. And I actually built it heavy enough that I could start the bike, I could climb up on it, I could do pretty much anything I wanted. So my main thing was make sure it was something I couldn't destroy. Now you see that the bike never really moved. I mean, I'm 200 and some pounds. The added weight of the bike, stands were able to hold that and me bouncing around on top of it. And that was my main point in building the stands, to give me a safe place to work on the bike with it staying straight up and down, that I could do pretty much any kind of work I wanted to do on it. Both stands are made of mild steel. nothing fancy. Actually, most of the components were scraps that I got from the job I was working on at the time. Got some basic welding skills. My welds aren't always the prettiest, but I'll dance on anything I weld, as you can see. I just made sure all my welds were strong, clean, and done to the point of overkill. Start with the front stand here. And these were all scrap, like I said, scrap sections of metal that I got from the job I worked on at the time. And I'll include some still photos in with this. And more up close of the pins. Yeah, there's nothing here that's really rocket science. The one thing I did have to do with the bike, there's a cap that goes here that pulls everything together. Once it's together, I take this cap back out. And you can see there's enough room for that bolt to slide in, but it won't go all the way through. And so that's how I ensure that it'll be sturdy enough to hold the bike. This was the original stand, was my rear stand. You can see how crude these things are really made. You know, this is actually a bolt I got and welded in for a support, top and bottom. Because I was welding tubing together rather than, where that stand was made with steel square tubing, this is all round. So actually what I did, I took both these upper pieces and put them in a vise and crimped them down to give myself as much surface to weld on as I could. So these are definitely low buck. I just made sure that these two pieces were the same length, holes drilled in the right spot. Then I got my measurement for the bar here that ended up being wrong. That's why it's got that splice welded in the middle there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a piece of pipe welded over top of this that's sleeved. And I ended up, I think these were just a pinch too narrow, so I cut them in half, put them in the bike, put a sleeve in the middle, and then tacked them. And then pulled everything back apart and welded around the sleeve to give myself the right dimension. The rear pipe, it's just a piece of steel water pipe, still threaded on this end. And I put a mild bend on it there, just putting in a vise and yanking on it to give myself a handle that would stick up off the ground. So, a little more support I welded on a piece of square tubing here. And it's the final product. So this is a 2000 CBR 929. It's got 100,000 miles on it. And I've used these, I made these stands shortly after getting the bike. And I've used them for 10 years now. So they've worked out great for all the work that I do on the bike myself.